So yesterday we spent some time reviewing the predictably and yet still deliciously hysterical reaction from the left after Trump's historic win. And today we return to that well. It is a deep well, and the water is cool and abundant and refreshing. But rather than just luxuriate in the suffering of our opponents, as profoundly satisfying as that can be, I'd like to examine one theme that's emerged in many of these reactions. Now, shortly after Trump's victory was announced, we started seeing tweets like these popping up all over Twitter. Here's one, quote, "Women need to stop dating and having sex with men immediately, and I'm not joking or being dramatic in the slightest." That one has 400,000 likes. This one has almost 300,000. It says, quote, "Ladies, I'm being so for real when I say this. It's time to close off your wombs to males. This election proves now more than ever that they hate us and hate us proudly. Do not reward them." Here's another with nearly 400,000 likes. Quote, "Ladies, we need to start considering the 4B movement like the women in South Korea and give America a severely sharp birth decline. No marriage, no childbirth, no dating men, no sex with men. We can't let these men have the last laugh. We need to bite back." Now, the 4B movement, as she mentioned in the tweet, started in South Korea sometime around 2019 or 2020. The whole idea is that women opt out of sexual relationships with men. And they also opt out of marriage and childbirth. This is how they're going to exact revenge on male Trump voters. Even though male Trump voters want nothing to do with these women anyway, that hasn't stopped them from marching under this banner. And needless to say, the women of TikTok are fully on board.
I'm gonna be honest, I was very blindsided by the results this morning. I've decided that cigarettes don't count today, and I honestly might go get a tattoo. But I also have decided that for the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from schmex with men. And funny enough, I actually just broke up with my boyfriend a handful of days before the election, and it had nothing to do with the anticipation of Donald Trump winning this election. It had everything to do with problems within our relationship and massive differences between who we were as people, which was unfortunate and sad. I wish him well, though. But yeah, as a woman, my bodily autonomy matters, and this is my way to exercise sovereignty over that. So I highly encourage any other women that are single and care about progressing women's rights and still fighting for our bodily autonomy to do the same. Delete your dating apps, because we can come together in community, and if you need somebody to cuddle or hold your hand or give you a kiss, I bet you one of your girlfriends would do it, okay? And you don't even have to really be gay, okay? It's okay to have a lot of platonic love for the next 4 years. I think we can look to South Korea and the 4B movement as a point of inspiration for us.
Now, one funny thing about this is that some men, as embarrassing as it may be for them, did actually vote for Kamala. Yet these women are swearing off sex with all men. They aren't making exceptions for men who voted for Kamala. So they're basically admitting that they're only sexually attracted to conservative men. The male Kamala voters who have completely degraded themselves just to impress these women are getting thrown out with the bathwater. They're punished for something they didn't even do. They're listening to this and they're standing on the sideline like, well, wait, but I voted for her. Yeah, get out of here. We're not talking to you. That's what they get for being submissive male feminist dorks, I guess. It's just indignity on top of indignity. Here's another TikTok feminist weighing in.
Not that my content reaches a lot of men because I have an IQ of 130, but I want the men in this country to know that half the female population, we're dry. We're probably going to stay dry. I'm dry as a desert, baby, and I don't want it to change. Yeah, we're not going to like you anymore. You understand that? Like, it doesn't matter if you take away abortion. Like, we'll want to have your babies even less, right? Even if you take away contraception, like, women are really good at celibacy because you guys are actually a threat to us. So we have a lot less to gain from you. So yeah, 4B all the way. Let's make some money, I guess. That's all we can do now.
Just to reiterate, they are attempting to punish all men by refusing to be in relationships with us as men. But the problem is that, we aren't interested. In fact, speaking personally, I'm already married. Many of us are already married. so you can go ahead and be single and lonely for the rest of your life. It makes no difference to us. This is like keying your own car because you're mad at us. You're making a big show in your own driveway of keying your own car. Is this what you want? You see this? Look at this. Look what you've done. Okay. I mean, all right. Knock yourself out. You're trying to exact revenge on us by embracing the extinction of your own bloodline and living a life of spiteful, miserable solitude. Be our guest. Be our guest. Even the single men among us wouldn't want anything to do with you anyway. You know, even the single ones. They're not looking for bitter, condescending harpies. Every man, I'm telling you, every single one, 100%, no exceptions, would watch that video of that woman and just even taking the content out of it, like just the tone, that condescending, that tone, and this is something that women should realize, especially if you're TikTok, one of these types on TikTok, that tone and that, it's the most off-putting thing for men in the world. Like it's nauseating. We actually want to throw up watching it. Just that tone in particular. You could not be. It doesn't matter how physically attractive you are. That tone just makes you're hideous to us. We can't get past it. And in fact, the greatest fear of single men everywhere is that they might accidentally marry a miserable, disgruntled feminist without realizing that that's her true nature until it's too late. Now, I've said to men many times that these types can't fool you. Okay, I mean, if you're at all perceptive, maybe they could fool you for a minute, but just one conversation, one date should be enough to tell if it's that kind of woman. And you should be able to tell, you know, whereas a wonderful, gracious woman, the spirit of such a woman, you could tell also from having a conversation. But anyway, if you are worried about that, well, now those types are taking themselves out of the pool. And so single men can breathe easier. So it's very much the opposite of a punishment. Picture this, a stranger breaks into your home and sets up cameras to record everything you say and do. Now imagine they take this footage and sell it on the open market for the world to watch. Sounds pretty awful, right? Well, thankfully, locks on our doors and many laws prevent people from doing this. Now let's say someone were to set up a similar surveillance operation that targeted your computer, smartphone, or other connected device. Surely it isn't legal to track and record all of your browsing history and sell it to the highest bidder, right? Well, unfortunately, in the US, it is legal, and they do it all the time. By they, I'm referring to your internet service provider who has the equivalent of spy cameras set up on your internet connection. They take your private data, sell it for huge profits. It's awful, but there's a way to stop them, and it's with ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is a virtual private network that reroutes 100% of my online activity through secure, encrypted servers. It's like having a deadbolt and chain on your internet activity. No one can access what I do online. Nobody can use my information against me. ExpressVPN also hides my IP address, which is the number that identifies you on the internet. Data brokers, or as I call them, big tech vultures, use that number to build a profile on you that they then sell to other companies. ExpressVPN hides that number, so it's like having a home security system on your online activity. ExpressVPN works on any device. It's easy to use, just one click and you're connected. You can use it on up to 8 devices at the same time. Right now, you can get an extra 3 months free when you use my special link. Go to expressvpn.com/election. Get 3 extra months of ExpressVPN. That's expressvpn.com/election. Let's play one more of these videos, and there are many to choose from, but this woman is perhaps the most committed of the bunch.
Just woke up this morning feeling spicy. You guys feel spicy? Because I do. All right. I don't know how to use this thing. Let's see what happens. Is this cutting off hair? I'm going to have to cut it shorter than that. Buzz it down, right? I think that this is too... It's getting hair. Let's see here. Maybe I got to cut it. Here we go. Have I given up on America? I've also given up on coloring this hair because, right? Coloring my hair, having my hair be long and luxurious, all that being skinny, being hot, being all the things that the patriarchy wants us to be, because clearly they don't give a shit about us. And I'm talking to you too, those of you ladies who have the internalized misogyny required to do what you did. Minorities who are so scared of a woman in power that you'd rather cozy up to the white man just in case some crumbs fall off his plate so that you may eat from them. Yes, scraps. I don't know how to work this thing, but I'm on my way. I'm gonna figure it out. When people tell me I can't do something, I want to do it. Just entering my middle-aged mom era. About to get the clippers out.
So she says she's done with being skinny and hot, which, mission accomplished. And then she proceeds to butcher her own hair. Really showed us, didn't she? She's inflicted a severe punishment on us by cutting off her own hair. I, for one, renounce my support of Donald Trump. I regret having ever supported. If only I'd known that this random middle-aged woman was going to shave her head, I would have done anything to prevent it. I would have voted for Kamala, if only to ensure that this woman could keep her hair and still have sex with whichever men were desperate enough. I guess that's how she thinks we'll react anyway. That's what she's expecting us to say. Of course, in reality, these women really struggle to understand the basic logic of incentive structures. If you want to punish people for doing something that you didn't want them to do, thereby enticing them to do things you want them to do in the future, the punishment needs to hurt or inconvenience them personally in some kind of way. Shaving your head and pledging to die alone does not in any way hurt or inconvenience any of us. That's the problem. Here's the second problem. If you're worried about your so-called reproductive rights, otherwise known as your right to murder your own offspring, those rights have not been impacted by the presidential election at all. Your legal ability to kill your child is exactly the same today as it was yesterday. It'll be the same after Trump is sworn into office as it would have been if Kamala was sworn into office. This presidential election has literally zero impact on whether or not you can kill your children. Now, I hesitate to make this point because I don't want you to kill your children. If you're dumb enough to think that Trump taking office means you aren't allowed to get abortions, I don't really want to disabuse you of that notion. I personally support a federal abortion ban. I wish we had one. But that's simply not going to happen. If the people in your state want to kill lots of babies, you will be allowed to continue doing that, unfortunately. Although I am very encouraged and also greatly amused by the fact that apparently a national abortion ban isn't necessary. Pro-abortion women are so confused about how our laws work and have such a tenuous grasp on civics that Trump's election is basically a de facto national abortion ban because they all just think that they're not allowed to get them now. And still not as good as a real one, but, better than nothing. And that's one thing we could take away from this movement, this American 4B movement, as they call it. But here's the other thing. Leftist women are deeply troubled, and that seems too obvious to even bother saying, but I think it's worth saying anyway, that these women have serious personal issues. And leftism for them is not really an ideology or a political position. These are not women who have considered the issues and arrived at a political position on them. It's not that at all. They really have not considered any issues ever. This is an expression of their own disturbed emotional and mental states. That's why they're shaving their heads and screaming in their cars and pledging to be alone for the rest of their lives. Politics doesn't have that effect on people. It's not normal to react that way to a presidential election. These are miserable people, and Trump is simply the avatar that they're pinning their miseries on today. And if it wasn't him, it'd be something else or someone else. They are unhappy in their lives, and they're looking for someone to blame. They'll blame Trump. They'll blame Republicans. They'll blame the voters. They'll blame men. They'll blame everyone and everything but themselves, which is what this really comes down to. And it's why they are all today canceled. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.